Hello, everyone, and it is the third trimester. So, yesterday I turned 28 weeks. Very exciting milestone, especially with triplet pregnancies. Getting to 28 weeks, getting to anything from now on is really exciting. So happy to share an update. I've had a couple awesome people ask questions on a couple of videos. So, a little shout out to Lots of Love and Amy Briggs. You guys gave me some good questions to answer in today's update. I will share kind of how things have been going. I know my last video I talked a little bit about my virtual work shower, which was so cool. But I have had even more surprises kind of thrown our way. So last weekend, the weekend before last, the 18th, was our 6th wedding anniversary. But that Saturday, one of my best friends was like, "Hey, I want to stop by." She just had a baby. She was like, "I'm taking some mom time to go run some errands. Can I borrow that bouncer that you had for Garrett?" And I was like, "Sure, come on over." So she showed up, and it was not just her, it was her and a few of my other friends. And they had secretly set up a GoFundMe account for us and presented us with an amazing check that will cover the kind of VIP suite at the hospital we're delivering at. So it'll more than cover that, so we'll be able to buy plenty of diapers. But she had asked me a while back, if I wanted to have a baby shower, how I felt about it with COVID and with it being my second pregnancy, and I was just a little hesitant. Um, which is why work ended up throwing me a shower because I told them that I wasn't having one. But so instead, she did this amazing surprise, and it was just awesome. I think 25 people contributed. It was just above and beyond what we ever would have thought our friends and family would do for us. It was just amazing. So, of course, I opened the door and see a handful of friends there. My mom's sitting there recording it, so there's a little video of it. Um, but, it's just a neat, really special way for us to welcome these babies. It's going to be a stressful time. We don't know when I'm going to deliver, but when it happens, being able to be in a comfortable space. It's a 2-room suite, so I would have my own space. Grant would have his own bed, which after our first delivery we realized is a really important thing. He'll have a real bed to sleep in versus just like a pull-out window seat, which is really what he slept on for a couple days when Garrett was born. But we also get 3 meals a day. And not all partners get that in the hospital. Like, they don't usually get the food. The mom does, but usually you either have to pay for a little bit of extra and just, have hospital food, which is not usually that good anyway. So we'll have a gourmet chef making our meals and just a little bit extra, love and attention just from the staff there. And it's just incredible. I knew about it only because another triplet mom, I think, had shared, or a multiple mom had shared in a local group. I was like, "Hey, if you guys are thinking about it, it's a really cool thing to do." It's certainly a big expense. It's not covered by insurance. But having that set of contributions was just so sweet. They showed up with balloons and cupcakes, and it just was a really awesome surprise. So that was the Saturday, and then our anniversary was the following day, and we got to go sit outside and eat dinner alone on a first date in a year, and that was really, really nice. So it was our 6th wedding anniversary, and we were planning a trip, which I'll talk about too. So we're not big gift people. We buy what we need when we need it. So um, it was just really nice to be able to be out. The chairs where we went were a little uncomfortable, so the 2-hour meal we had would have been lovely if I had a little bit of cushion or something, but my back was just killing me towards the end of the meal. So that made it a little bit uncomfortable, but it was just nice to be out. We sat outside still. We hit our 2-week vaccination window, like of being completely vaccinated the following week, so we just wanted to be safe still. Um, so that was pretty exciting, looking down at my calendar to remember what else we had going on. So then the following week was 27 weeks. So 26 weeks, not a whole lot, really, not many changes. Uh, Really, my major symptoms from all 3 weeks has just been the pelvic pain that I've talked about, this rib pain that is just pretty constant. I push down and I can feel baby girl like move down and kick my hand. She's like, no, I want to be there. So that piece of it's a little bit uncomfortable. The pelvic pain by the end of the day is pretty intense. If I move one leg independently from the other, it's pretty bad pain, and it makes me have to sit down and rest for a little bit. Um, I found that putting a heating pad on my pelvis or on my hips has really been helpful, and then doubling up pillows between my knees when I'm sleeping, making sure my legs are aligned in the right way. But that rolling motion in bed from going from one side to another with my legs kind of moving is what really creates some pain. So I also went to the chiropractor last week for the first time to see if they could help a little bit with it. And in all honesty, I was in more pain that night and the next day than I had been leading up to it. And I went again this week and said, hey, I don't know if this is for me. I'm like, it hurts really bad. And she said, well, the first day you felt good. Did you feel better than you did before you saw me? And I actually did. So she said, that's the point, is that we want to get those ligaments and muscles and everything in your hips, your round ligaments, readjusted so that you're feeling better more often than feeling bad. So I went again, I've gone twice now. She gave me a little bit of an adjustment, and it didn't hurt nearly as bad the next day. I mean, the night and the next day after my first adjustment, I mean, I was in pain. I couldn't go up and down the stairs. I literally worked on our main floor because in the basement here, I have to go upstairs to go to the bathroom. So I just worked on the couch because it was just so painful. But after the adjustment this week, I felt a lot better. She did an adjustment on my back as well because of some of the rib pain that I'm having. What else happened? So last week was, again, 27 weeks. On Friday, we went and did a tour of the NICU. Our coordinator reached out and said, hey, something we like to do, a little bit after 24, 25 weeks is just to get you into the NICU, check it out, make sure you're comfortable, and really just understand what's coming. So that was very, very helpful. We took Friday off because we took a little mini baby moon, which I'll talk about. But we started that day by going downtown. VCU is where we're going to be delivering, seeing the unit, understanding, the fact that they do have twin rooms, but they don't have triplet rooms. So 2 babies will be in a room together, and then we'll probably have a room across the hall based on availability when we deliver. Walked through all of the different, risks and, basically understanding that the earlier they come, the more support they'll need, but survival from here on out is pretty much equal. So a 28 weeker has the same likelihood of surviving as a 36 weeker. It's just the number of complications and then stay in the NICU that are increased. So we met with a neonatologist. I think there are a handful on staff. I also have a good friend from high school that's a NICU nurse, and so I got to see her and hug her. And that has just been so great, just to have somebody on the inside that I can ask random questions, and I'll know she'll be there to care for our babies when they get here. She may not be on our case the whole time, but I'm sure she's going to fight to be on it. But it made me feel better seeing the space, knowing what it's going to be like, looking at the isolettes, understanding, I've watched a lot of wonderful YouTube families that have triplets, and I've seen that whole process. So it was just helpful to see it and see where we're going to be. The downside, obviously we can't have any other visitors. So nobody, grandparents or sibling, won't be able to meet the babies until they come home. And the other part was, if one of the babies is doing well and is discharged, only one parent can be there at a time. So it's one person per room. So if we have the twins or 2 babies in one room, only one parent. But as long as all 3 babies are there, one parent per room. So Grant and I can both be at the NICU if they're all 3 there. And then the other piece of it was just if one of them is discharged, I can't bring that baby back in with me. So if I want to spend time with their siblings, I'm hopefully going to be nursing, I won't be able to bring that baby along. So if we are lucky to have one baby that graduates the NICU early, we'll have to face some of those difficulties with being separated and most likely me being home with a baby, dad being at NICU, but I'm going to be pumping. And so there's just a lot of pieces. So that's really the only thing that's in my mind now is just balancing how that's going to work. But people have faced so much worse with COVID. And we've been really lucky that Grant's been able to come to all my appointments and things like that. That if this is the biggest hurdle, we can certainly get through it. So while we were there, we also got to peek in to labor and delivery to understand what happens, when I come in for my scheduled C-section, hopefully at anywhere from 34 to 35 to even 36 weeks. I know the process. I know where to go, where my pre-op will be, and then we take over this huge operating room. We'll each have 3 to 5 people assigned to each of us. So there's going to be a lot of people in the room. We'll recover on labor delivery and then go up to those gum neck suites that our friends have provided for us. So we got to tour that as well. Didn't get to see the full suite, but got to kind of see what the space is like. And it's super fancy. Felt a little silly being in there, like we didn't belong, but it's going to be so nice to recover there. And then after that, we packed up and hit the road. So we went to a local river resort called the Tides Inn to celebrate both our anniversary and our little baby moon. So we went Friday and Saturday and came back Sunday. And my husband's colleague's mom actually works there. And, he had mentioned that we were going and, really just to see, if there were any specials going on or anything cool that we should know about to book. But little did we know, she really put us in the VIP category. I had upgraded our room to a suite. I just knew, I was like, I want the space and I wanted a soaking tub that my belly could actually go all the way underwater. So I knew we had a really nice room, but they had put us in front and center, like overlooking the water. There were chocolate covered strawberries waiting for us in the room. And then there were 3 sweet little onesies that had the Tides Inn logo on them. And that was really just the beginning of the surprises. Grant's coworkers also had sent a card from work with an awesome gift card to help us get baby supplies. I had another friend that sent us a cheese tray. And then when I went and got my prenatal massage on Saturday, had a nice little self-care gift bag from the resort too. So it was just so cool to feel so spoiled. It was kind of like how everybody expects their honeymoon to be. People like bend over backwards to make you feel special. We didn't really have that experience. Our honeymoon was a little rocky. But to have that on this trip was just really cool. Um, the coworker's mom actually told all the staff that we were there, so everyone kept coming up to us and being like, "Oh, you're the Triplet family. So excited to have you," and offering us congratulations. And it felt so special, just to kind of have that extra care. So we had a really relaxing time. Ate a lot of meals outside. It wasn't the best weather. It was probably like mid 60s, but cloudy, and it rained Saturday night. So we ate a couple meals in our room. We sat on the terrace and had some meals. Just a really nice, quiet place to be. Pretty family friendly. There were a couple little kids running around, and we just were thinking about how crazy it would be to bring back Garrett and the triplets when they're big enough. But it was just a really nice experience to reconnect. Obviously, Grant and I hadn't been alone or had any downtime away from the house for a year, much like everybody else. And we're just really thankful that we had the opportunity to be vaccinated so that we could go do something like this and feel safe about it. And so my mom and mother-in-law and father-in-law took care of Garrett. They kind of switched off and on. He had a blast. Like, he just wouldn't stop talking about how much fun he had with his grandparents the weekend. But you could tell he missed us a little bit. I mean, we've been a pretty tight family unit for a year with no pauses or interruptions. So it was pretty fun to be able to give him a big hug when we got home. And then what else happened? So this week, obviously I turned 28 weeks. I had my MFM appointment. I had my blood glucose check. Passed it barely. They wanted it to be under 140, and I was at 133. So drank the sugary drink and waited the hour. Got my blood work done. Also got my Tdap, which I didn't realize. I don't know if I even got it the last time I was pregnant. I'm sure I did, but I just don't remember it. And just had some general blood work. My platelets are a little bit low, and so was my iron, but they weren't too worried. It wasn't outside of the range to the point where they were going to do anything about it. We'll check it again, he said, in 4 weeks just to make sure we're doing okay. Um, I got another massage yesterday and a haircut and just a little trim. Now that I was vaccinated, I felt a lot more comfortable doing some of those things. And then I got to have dinner with friends. We sat outside, two of my good friends, and just felt normal. And really, it's just helping my mental state just to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable. And just everybody's in my circle is vaccinated, so it's been nice that we have that safety. And we are being pretty strict about seeing people that are not vaccinated. I know it's really hard for people that, there's a lot of reasons why they're choosing not to do it, and we certainly respect that. But with the scare that we had with Garrett, just can't risk being in that 5% of not vaccinated, since I think the efficacy is 95% of the vaccines that we got. Um, so yeah, the appointment went really well. Babies are measuring well. Baby A is 2 pounds 15 ounces. Baby B was 2 pounds 5 ounces, and then baby C was 2 pounds 8 ounces. So I have a lot of baby in there, plus placenta. Fluids were looking great. The ultrasound tech was shocked that I was as comfortable as I was, because B and C are transverse, so they're long ways in my tummy. And A is just chilling. I don't know. He's just always down in my hips, so you can barely even see him on the ultrasound. But they're all growing just as well as a singleton would be. Um, the doctor said, for the first time, he said, our goal is 34 weeks. He had said before 36 weeks, but I think he's changing his tune just a little bit. I think he maybe, I'm not sure what the discrepancy is and why he was kind of going back and forth, but obviously I think he wants me to go to 36 weeks, but he said 34 is a little bit more realistic. And so that puts me at right around June 10th, that time period. So my last day at work is going to be June 1st. Well, my last day will be May 28th, I think. And then I'll be off until October 1st. So I'm very lucky and get to have a 4-month maternity leave. 8 weeks is paid through my work, which I didn't have with Garrett. I'll have 8 weeks of short-term disability, and then I have another handful of weeks that I just have saved up with my PTO, my time off. That's just vacation time. So it's going to be really nice, just beneficial to be able to feel comfortable. I could even take a little more time if we get to the point where I need more. I'm not using all of my paid time off yet. So I'm saving some of that. I'm taking a little bit here and there for some of these appointments now that they're getting bigger and longer. But really just feeling good about having that time off to really get what we need to get done. And then our nanny will start September 1st, so I'll have a month of overlap of just having that extra support. So we did have a couple of questions that, as I mentioned, two of my I guess followers have asked. And so I'm happy to kind of talk through these. Some of them are a little bit silly. So if you don't want to hear the real real facts and TMI of pregnancy, you may want to stop. But just really quickly kind of run through some of these questions. One of them was around weight gain, like what did I think about it? What were my expectations? It's a really good question. There was a book that I was recommended to read. I think it's called Twins, Triplets, and Quads, a book about multiples. And that book said 65 pounds was my goal to gain. No way. I've barely gained 20 pounds. And my doctor has no problem with that. I think going through fertility treatments, I gained at least 20 pounds going through that. And I think that weight has reappropriated and has moved to my belly. And I've just been, eating what I can eat, but really trying to be more nutritious. Yes, I still eat Pop-Tarts every now and then, or like a handful of gummy bears, but I'm nowhere near as bingy as I was with Garrett. And with him, I think I gained a total of 45 pounds. I'm certainly not afraid to gain the weight. It's just not happening, and it didn't happen until middle of second trimester. The other question was about stretch marks. I am not going to show those to the internet because nobody wants that. I might one day, towards the very end when my belly's huge, show it a little bit more because I know a couple of the moms I follow, it's been helpful just to see realistically what the belly looks like. I'm wearing a dress today, so it's not going to happen today. But I have a couple of stretch marks on the bottom half of my belly that popped up right around like 22, 23 weeks. Um, I put Burt's Bees belly butter on my stomach twice a day. I love it. I used it with Garrett. It's just a nice weight of lotion. It's not sticky, but it really just helps the skin. The skin around my belly button starting to stretch a little bit, and my belly button's officially popped. So, definitely slathering up with that has been really helpful. Another question was, am I going to do maternity photos or belly cast? I am not a big fan of my own picture. I will probably not do maternity photos. I won't do a belly cast either. I just don't think that that's me. Certainly I have pictures, and I might, go out to a pretty location and just have my husband take a picture or two just for us, for me to remember this time. But I took belly pictures each week and I have those saved, and that is really, it's really cool to me to look back on. Um, if I were more into, having my picture taken, certainly. I just don't feel like I'm the most photogenic. I feel like I'm a more in-person person than I just don't usually like pictures of myself. So maybe that's just because I haven't had the right photographer, but we probably will not. But I do think we'll spend some money on newborn pictures. We had them taken at the hospital when Garrett was born, and I don't know if they do that during COVID, especially not with 3 NICU babies, but most likely I'll have somebody come to the house and do some newborn pictures for an announcement or something like that because I think those are super fun. Another question was, am I waddling? Yes, very much so. So the waddle isn't always because of my belly, it's because of my hip pain and just, you know, needing to walk a little differently. Excuse me. So yeah, I have a waddle. It's hard to get around. Getting up and down out of a chair is difficult. So poor husband has to like crane lift me out of the chair sometimes. Getting in and out of the car, especially with the pelvic pain, I have to kind of put my butt on the seat first and swing my legs around. I did get a handicap parking pass. I've only used it once or twice when it's, a big parking lot. But walking far distances starts to get really painful and standing for a long period of time. Gas. Have I had any inappropriate farting or burping situations? Was one of the questions, and I think it's hilarious. I'm a very open person, and I have a 5-year-old who talks about farts all the time. I would say yes, gas has been increased this whole process, but honestly, it's been more like gas pain and not the actual coming out of the gas. Of course, that happens. It's got to come out. Everybody farts. Everybody poops. It's a thing. Um, but I would say that the gas kind of gets trapped up in my, like, I don't know if that's my colon or what it is up top because everything's so squished and sometimes pushes around to my back. So I have been taking Gas X very frequently, and it really just helps kind of move it so that it does come out. But no, there's no embarrassing stories about it. um, I don't really go anywhere, and my husband's just kind of like, whatever, it is what it is. Again, with a 5-year-old that likes toots all the time, it's funny. Um, but I will say that hemorrhoids have been a little bit of a part of this pregnancy as well. I had them really badly with Garrett towards the end, the super painful kind. This time it's just been more annoyance. They're not as painful. And again, TMI had a bleeding hemorrhoid that lasted about 2 weeks, but that one wasn't painful at all. It just was terrifying to see blood on toilet paper. And if you've gone through infertility before, you know that that is just a really scary thing too. So it resolved both. That's resolved on its own. I'm a big fan of just regular old suppositories and hemorrhoid cream. I think that that is the best treatment. Tux pads, things like that. So again, it's a triplet pregnancy. There's all these things are normal and natural. So I giggle a little bit when I'm talking about it, but it's a real part of it. Somebody else also asked about belly touchers. Have people come up and wanted to touch my belly or feel the babies. It didn't happen until our weekend away. The girls at the hostess stand at dinner one night said, I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, but can I touch your belly? And I'm like, ooh, okay, sure. So she and her friend both touched my belly, not very long, and it wasn't anything, kind of creepy. But that was the first time, and I think it's really because we're just not out and about as much. It happened with Garrett. I had a lady come up to me in the bathroom line and was like, "Can I touch your belly?" Like when I was like maybe 4 or 5 months pregnant with Garrett, so I wasn't even that big. That one was creepy. But I feel like when you have a triplet pregnancy, it's like a little bit more mysterious and people are a little bit more curious. So it really doesn't bother me. Um, it's just weird. It's just like just ask, and if you really want to, like, I guess that's fine, but like, I don't know why you'd want to touch my belly because it's not like they move all the time. You're probably not going to feel a kick because it's just not like a thing that you can make them do. Um, but certainly family, everyone's really respectful. I think they always ask, before, or I ask them, hey, baby's moving right now. You want to feel it? Garrett just loves having his hand on my belly. And then another question, I think this one was from Amy, is just like, how's my husband feeling about it all? And he has just been on overdrive of helping. I mean, he is the cook in our family, so I've never really had to be the meal provider. So he does grocery shopping and making our meals, which I'm very, 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 very lucky. But I couldn't unload and load the dishwasher by like second trimester. I just was too big and couldn't stand, couldn't bend over. So he's really been doing the brunt of the work. So, I mean, certainly, I think that's hard on him. He's going back to the office in middle of July, so that's going to be a huge change. I mean, obviously, I think he's super excited. He's felt the baby's kick a lot. We'll sit on the couch watching TV, and I'll just be like, "Oh, they're going crazy right now," and so he'll come over and put his hand on the belly and get to feel them. I think it's hard. I think it's hard for guys because they don't get to have that same experience as we do. And there's times where I'm just like, I don't want to carry these babies anymore, and he's like, well, I'll do it. I would gladly do it for you. So I mean, he's just amazing. I've gotten so lucky, and couldn't get through this without somebody as wonderful as him. So certainly very lucky to have a great partner in this. And it was really nice to just have just us time, like sitting next to the river and holding hands. Like I don't know the last time we sat and like held hands just for fun. Excuse me. I mean, we probably have, and he holds my hand to help me get in and out of the car and stuff. So, but just to have that time together of, oh yeah, we really like each other. Like this is fun. Was nice kind of to reconnect. So that was really great. I know this video is going pretty long. So those were the questions that popped up on the last video. So I wanted to talk about those. What's coming up next? So not a whole lot. We did kindergarten registration for my kiddo today, so that was fun but a little intense. I won't start going weekly to the doctor until 30 weeks. Sorry, I keep looking at my calendar. That's what I'm looking at down here. And then I'll go every week leading up. That way, if there's an issue or anything like that, they'll be able to catch it really quickly. Monitoring my blood pressure still. It's been a little bit high, but not anything that they're worried about. Just more of a thing to look at. Um, I have a family virtual baby shower coming up in the middle of May, which is really sweet. My mom's side of the family wanted to do something, so that's kind of cool. And then there's a possibility of having some friends come to town to visit, just to, since I can't travel anymore, I'm in nesting mode. My doctor said I can't go anywhere where I'm 30 minutes away from the hospital. So really, it's getting the baby things organized. I know I've promised a nursery tour, kind of looking at some of the baby gifts. They're still all at my mom's house. And that's one of our plans for this weekend, is to get some of that stuff organized. And I am trying to get my feet off of the exercise ball that I keep them on. A little swollen, a little puffy. I don't know if you can tell my wedding ring's just a little bit tight. But I'll do a little bump update. So there's the big belly at 28 weeks. So I've found, you can see that my belly button's popped. But these maxi dresses are just so comfortable to be able to just kind of sit around and not have to wear pants. I really don't like pants nowadays. But yeah, those are the big updates. I will Share if there's anything exciting next week that comes along. But I'll probably keep my every 2 weeks updates just to not overwhelm you with too many things. And of course, if babies come, I will share a little update there. And of course, if you aren't following me on Instagram, that's really where I post more frequently. Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's every couple of days. But that's really where I kind of do more of my like everyday things, and share some of those updates. So anyway, I so appreciate you guys following along on our journey, and just cheering us along. It's just amazing to have this amazing, it just is such a cool support group, of people that I may never meet in person, but you guys, we chat a lot, and I've got some internet best friends now, so it's just a really cool way to connect and share what we're going through, because not very many people have triplets, so it's a pretty cool thing to kind of get an inside look at. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks.